Alright, so we should be live. Took a bit of messing around, but looks like I believe I've got it sorted. Looks like the stream should come through fine from now on. Using XSplit should work. I'll try and get the full version later, but for now, just using the standard version looks to be working. So got a couple of ships to work on still. I did kind of want to work on the destroyer a bit more, but I mean, there's still plenty of other things that do need working on as well. And one thing that I don't think I've shown off yet would be this. So here we have, it was kind of meant to be sort of a weird thruster-based airship design. Multiple rocket pods built into the bottom here. Standard radar-based detection, meant to protect underneath it. At the front here, we have an advanced cannon working here. I can't remember. It's 100 mils. From memory, I believe it essentially worked like a flak shotgun sort of a dealio, because this was working before you were able to actually set the barrels to spin. So that now needs calibrating for that. At that point, you should be able to set it up so that it can constantly fire. We've got a couple of coincidence rangefinders at the front here. Simple radar setup at the top and the bottom, and coincidence rangefinders there and at the top here. Absolute overkill on detection, but she does tend to eat a lot of shots in the front end. Strafing thrusters along each side. Now the reason for this is currently running with a drone-based lure code, which is actually in here with us, in the little command deck thing. Now, I've actually got to double check this. I can't remember the keys. It is just up and down. Okay, cool. So, yeah, you can actually open up the little command room and jump out. So this is actually at the top of the back here. So you're pretty much the second most protected thing here. The most protected, of course, being the engine room, which does sit just below us. Now, from what I remember, once we hit above a certain speed, it should just close that hatch automatically anyway. But directly below us, we currently have filled out in the sides a whole bunch of RTGs. These were thrown in later on, from what I remember, just to throw a bit of backup electric power in case the engines actually went down. But I'm thinking of stripping that out and cutting the costs way down. A bunch of fuel was dumped in here. Now, from what I remember, I should have fuel built in further along in the ship, so there shouldn't really be a need for that. So actually, what we can do is, if we go to, yeah, alright, so what we've got here is we've got all the fuel boxes, more RTGs behind it, so that's why it was a bit of overkill throwing the extra ones in at the back. Ammunition built back here. Either side of that is the miscellaneous cargo. So it should be quite a bit of armor though to get through on each side, especially the bottom. Because the bottom has each of these turret spinners on the bottom. And then underneath that, we have layers of armor protecting thrusters that are sitting further up in the ship. Now, currently it's set up to be running in sort of lower atmosphere, which it shouldn't be. It is really kind of built to be up in upper atmosphere. So what we've got to do now is I'm actually going to go inside and find the lower block real quick. There we are. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a copy of that, place it over here. Oh, whoops, wrong button. Okay, my bad. Okay, so in here, I'm going to drop another copy of it. exit, don't save changes. Oh no, wait, what am I doing? Okay. So, apply changes, stop running, exit. Alright. For some reason it kind of drags the text off to the right, which is a bit of a problem. Can't remember. Yeah, I've actually got to scroll across, that's right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've got to set the minimum altitude up to, say, I believe we should be going up to like 700. Oop. And go to maximum 1,000. Alright, so it's way more than it really needs, but what we can do is apply changes and then go to this one and hit stop running. So what should have happened is we can restart this one and turn that one off afterwards, but this is designed for once we hit campaign mode, because then what we can do is turn off combat. Okay, so we've, yep, alright, we should be high up. Okay, so we go full thrust forward. Oh, come on, balance yourself. Okay, so we should be able to build up our speed until we hit maximum speed. Now, I can't tell you off the top of my head what it was, but I believe it was around 200. Should be able to manage that. As this was built to be upper atmosphere, thus all the ion engines and thrusters built into the back here. Now, the reason for this is once she goes onto the map, it can actually move it close to 200 meters per second and be used to intercept, like, larger vehicles, I guess, from memory. Now, it might be going a bit slower nowadays, as a lot has changed and I don't have all the points in Space Captain and so forth. Yeah. Should be fine. That's still a pretty hefty speed. So what then happens is once we've sort of hit our maximum speed, kind of just go back in, stop running, restart running, and then oop, see it kind of freak out for a minute. And at this point we should be able to pull it out of play and have it actually moving around on the map at full speed. So this should be pretty useful once we're into the campaign and we're actually having to get fairly hefty units, heavily armored, to get out there and actually get into a fight. So now, what I'll do is play it again and sort of show you what it does. Sure, bring in a Constitution, that'll be fine. So even when it's up against a naval vehicle, there we are. Okay, it's gotten pretty choppy about this. There we are. Should be perfectly fine, although I don't know where it's going. It's not meant to fight up in upper atmosphere. Pretty sure we engaged the lower one again, but that is different. What is it doing? Oh no, wait, of course.
Taking control.
Oops, my bad. So it is pretty high up. This is this one running, yes. Optimal altitude, yeah. Yep, and double check this one. Stop running. Whoops. Okay, this one, I did that. Alright, so it should now dive down. There we go. Alright, so the missiles should be effective at this height. Now, there we go, as soon as it starts firing. This is set up so that all these are on a timed fuse, which means even if this thing gets surrounded by a whole bunch of fighters, whatnot ever else, it should still be able to actually pop them. Did have a video, I believe, for that before. So, yeah, this thing's got a whole bunch of lasers on it, so that's why this can now start relying on the missile launcher pods. Now, they were pretty simple to set up. Just basic spinners set up free fire on the launch pads. Up in the back there, and yeah. Alright. At the same time, we've got this firing now, so you can kind of see it doesn't fire perfectly, to say the least. It kind of fires a couple shots here and there, and yeah, it's not great. So I'll have to set the speed on that as well. Now at the bottom here we've got another set of AA cannons. These are supposed to be shooting flak shots. Now this is not properly set up either at the moment. This was set up before you could actually put spinners onto other spinners. So what I basically need to do is transplant the entire turret onto a vertical turret, built onto a standard one-way turret. After that, I believe it should be ready to go. As you can see, really does just kind of slowly fill the sky with missiles. Yeah. Now, even with a whole bunch of lasers, it's, yeah, pretty hard to stop those, plus the cannons simultaneously. Now, funnily enough, I was actually mucking around yesterday, and one of the vehicles I used was actually, it had a combat rating of a few hundred. It was kind of that cheese drone that I was using, which it's basically just got a whole bunch of those simple cannons built onto it. And the amount of damage that it was pumping out, it costs about 3,000 to build it. And it was just pumping out devastating amounts of damage. So I'm kind of thinking of also putting some simple cannons onto some of my naval units to sort of function as, I believe I had a sub-object here. Yeah, I think this is the one. No, it's not this one. Sorry, just trying to find it. But I had an AA gun that I basically just set up out of simple cannons stuff. We'll just go to the simple weapons. But yeah, so I found, like, I took a good look at it. These actually do 500 kinetic damage per shot, from what I can see. So that's 9 rounds at 500 kinetic damage. Yeah, it's doing 5,000 damage per burst, which is actually fairly considerable, seeing as you kind of go over to the cannons and you can see that even with... Okay, well that one's not going to be easy to get a hold of. But over here you can see this one. So when it does go off, it's setting off an explosion of about 10k, I think, from memory. Now that's only 2 bursts. Like, that's not much. Now it's explosive, so it's in a large area. These are kinetic, so it's a small area. But regardless, it was actually pretty nuts to watch. What I might do really quickly, I should be fine to do this now, is swap over and quickly transfer in. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So it should be in here now, and we should be able to go to quadcopter drones. So it should be this one. I believe this should be it. Yep, so that's the one. Now I tested this out, and I should actually have it. I'll go over here and do this. Where's the... I should have the evaluation for it. I believe somewhere. Combat metric. Somewhere. I cannot remember where to see it. Well, I actually did test it out, and yeah, ended up with a combat metric of a couple of hundred. I can't remember where to find it now on vehicle stats. Should be somewhere on here. Oh, could always take it and basically just demonstrate it, I guess. Yeah, this thing, pretty much, it's not really great at using on its own, but in any kind of groups, like even just small groups, there we go. Oop, now where to put it? There we go. So, if I get even just a cauldron or something, doesn't really even need to be anything special. It's just to sort of demonstrate, but so this is heavily armed. Like, it should take a hell of a lot to damage this. It should slowly start peeling away, and the drones should be mostly fine. I mean, they don't even have anything on them to repair themselves or each other. They're just an incredibly basic setup, 2,900 resources. I've been watching them sort of just slowly chew into things with these kinetic bullets, so kind of thinking of adapting that into my naval vessels. I mean, these things are a bit dirty, and but how's it going? The concept is it's just a ton of cannons on a really simple turret setup. So what I'll do is destroy enemy vehicles, actually destroy all. Load one up, and then we'll take the turret straight off. So under here, yeah, so it's a really simple setup. What I've got going on, oh, there we go. So we've got, each of these guns is just placed around 3 steel blocks. And this thing is, from just that, will be able to put out quite a bit of firepower. But it's also incredibly maneuverable. I noticed that. So what I might do is that one. Need to make sure it's the bottom one. Save sub-object, and I'll save it as the AA gun. And, whoops. See, that'd be how I misplace things, because I don't name them. Turret or quadcopter. Yeah, that should be fine enough to find. Alright. So destroy all. And we had this one, I believe, was it was sort of supposed to be our AA ship, our anti-air ship. Didn't really work that great, but if I was to set some guns like that up on it, I have a feeling it could probably actually be pretty useful. It's a little heavy in the back end though, I'll give it that. Alright, so what I was kind of thinking is maybe replacing, yeah, just replacing these, and I was thinking it might actually have detection built straight onto it. I don't know, maybe those front ones could probably handle it. Alright, so what we gotta do is we gotta get straight into here and rip them out one by one. They're gonna be... No, actually, I built them straight onto the top here, didn't I? So they should be fairly easy to deal with. We should be able to pretty much just replace some of them and get rid of the others. Alright. So... yeah, that one... Alright, so we'll replace every second one, I think. Sort of a dealio, because otherwise, yeah, they're going to be smacking into each other. Let's see how much firepower we get off of this. It should be pretty entertaining to watch. As long as this thing's got enough ammo on board. I believe it does. Should be right. Yeah. And then we can start making some progress on that campaign again. Did kind of bug me that we had to stop it, but I just didn't have enough time to keep working on the vehicles enough. Yeah, see, that's going to be a pain. Oh well. Stuff it. Put that back, and we'll just have to put a block in here and there. Alright. So, block those ones up. Okay. 2 meter. Right there. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we should be able to slap those down now. So they should just slip straight in. There we go. Perfect. Alright. So this should bring up its firepower by a pretty dramatic amount. Now what I'm curious about though is, are we going to be able to control them? It's 66 guns. Jesus. Alright. So, kind of rolls the ship a bit, but I mean, that looked like a decent number of shots. It should have AI set up to control each of those, so we should be able to just straight up run it. So, let's just save it over it, and see how we go. So I've got other copies of that elsewhere anyway. They don't really have any flying units, do they? We'll go to Deepwater Guard. I know they do. Alright. So now, how much are they going to damage each other? How much are we going to have to... Yeah. So I was taking suspicion until it's like pretty much underneath them. It's going to be very difficult for this thing to not be shooting itself, so I'm going to need to make sure that each of these gets a failsafe put onto it as well. It doesn't already have it. They should be blasting now. Not really seeing any effect though. We've got plenty of ammo, so we just can't see the shots, I guess. So no, maybe not so effective on this. Doesn't really appear to be functioning properly. I don't think they're firing. Yeah, they're not firing. Okay, so problem. Why aren't they firing? They're aiming, so they're trying. They're definitely willing, and they seem to be moving pretty... They're moving pretty smoothly. It's not a case of they're stuck and just slightly off of aiming. So I'm not 100% sure. Also, if anyone's curious, I've got the live chat up on the overlay, so I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but if you put anything up, it should pop through. I've tested it yet, but probably should. Alright, so it's, yeah, doesn't appear to be functioning, so I think that might need some work. Trying to pop it back up. Alright, they're in the line of fire. Alright, so I mean, that's 25k. I was hoping to get a few drones worth of firepower out of it and sort of justify paying that much for it. See, each of these actually has its own active radar built into it as well. So they should have some, like, pretty decent detection. That's kind of how it was built to run. So they're sitting there. How was I controlling that with the AI again, though? Alright. So, might have to shrink it down. Painting mode. So, we had... Oh, there isn't any. Not that I can tell. I mean, these are here, but they're too far away. We've still got the broadside cannons, I mean, if it does run into anything. But, yeah, no, that's strange. Did I at some point remove them? I believe I may have. Okay. In that case, I need to replace them? There's no way, right? Unless I had... Hang on. I'm confused. I don't know how I was running this ship before. Because that should be the exact same placement, which means there should have been nearby some kind of weapon control block. But there does not appear to be. So what I'm going to have to do is set one up without closing them before. Alright. Okay. It's fine. It's not a number of blocks wide, so we'll put the mirroring straight down there. I don't know if I want to go with the, yeah 3 meters. Alright. Okay, so we need to put that on either side. And that'll give us space for not just a weapon controller, but also to be able to connect it up and to be able to put in a, whatchamacallit, safety thingy-bob. Fuse. There we go. Words escape. Why? So just be those 3. Alright, what am I doing? Why am I doing that? I don't need to put that down yet. Okay, so AI, local weapon controller. So we're gonna need a failsafe on each one of them. Now they can reach 2 blocks, so should be fine. What am I doing? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to think ahead of the next step, and I kind of just blanked on that part there. Okay, so thinking as well, I was using this as sort of a area where I had spacing, so that if there was anything like heat penetration rounds that were being used, they will kind of melt the upper layer and then sort of continue melting their way down and into the ship usually. Whereas if you create like an air gap, it can kind of protect against that. But at the moment we are going to have air gaps in a bunch of it, but there are going to be sort of, I guess, areas where we've had to reinforce so that it can reinforce underneath those. But those should control each of them. I don't know how they were aiming before if they weren't being controlled by a weapon controller, but we'll see what happens now. They are shooting. Wouldn't trust that failsafe so much, but they are shooting. Alright. Now, how well are they shooting? Is it peeling stuff apart or not? That's the question. Yes. Seems to be doing okay. The big challenge will be when I put it against like actual tough missions, but nope, those fail-safes are not working. Alright, fair enough. So the concept was meant to be more of a have a fire out of both sides kind of an area, so I need to set up constraints on the vehicle, but they're shooting at least, so that's nice. Yeah, I will go to this turret. This is the one, yeah? Yep, okay. Alright, so I'm going to set up extra constraints, and then I'm going to realize I stopped up. It'll be in build mode when you do that, otherwise it's a bit weird and buggy. It kind of stuffs with your camera. Alright, so what we need is we need to increase the size of the marker. Alright. That's kind of not great. I mean, I prefer the azimuth to be able to go further. I mean, I could just flip it and try and adjust it the other way around. And no, because that doesn't work that way, does it? Well, that should be fine then. Yeah, I believe. Hang on. Yeah, that should be good. That should be fine. Just gotta sort of copy them across and hopefully that will work. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see how we go. That is not what I wanted to interact with. There we go. Okay, so paste from clipboard. And paste from the clipboard over here. And we should be good. Now we just got to sort of stuff around with these ones real quick. And we should be able to test it out. Now I was kind of considering as well setting these up to 2 separate mainframes, so it'll shoot on opposite sides simultaneously. Okay, so we're gonna have to set this one up manually as well. Oh yeah, marker size. There we go. Round 2, yeah, there will be fine. And then now the other 2, it might be a bit of a problem to do that with. Might have to adjust them slightly and then do the same with the other side actually. Might be worth. Because otherwise this one's going to be trying to shoot like pretty much backwards. Okay, just so I can see where it is. Okay, so that's fine. But this needs to go... Yeah, that's pretty much as far as it can go. That'd be fine. I hope. Actually, should have... Oops, real quickly copy that. And then take that one over here. It should be the same. Then... Oh no, wait. We can actually allow it a little more freedom around the front. So that can go right around to there. There we go. Alright, so this one will need slight adjusting as well. But once they're all adjusted, they shouldn't shoot each other. And we should be good. And then we can test it some more. Okay, that one's a bit nuts. Have to fix that. The middle one as well then. Alright. Should be fairly simple. That can go there. That can go there. Alright, so hopefully that's set. Hopefully. Let's see how we go. Doesn't really appear to have made a difference. Shooting hard. Where is it? Alright, so this isn't what I remembered happening when you set the constraints in the field of fire. Have I set it backwards? No way. Have I? Maybe? Let me check. Wait, what? Okay, so this one has field of fire, so the back one doesn't? I thought we set the back one up first. Okay, quickly set this one up. Double check the others. Wait, and which one did I just click on? Because this one does have it set up. Alright, so what we're gonna have to do is maybe flip it? Like, did I have it backwards? And this is actually the area that's restrained? That can't be, right? I set that in the right turret, yeah? Hang on. Okay, hang on. There we go. Okay. Yep, that is the correct turret. It should be the one that allows it to turn in the direction of the enemy. Unless, were they like flipping over to shoot at the enemy or something? I don't understand what was happening there. Okay, one more quick. Just want to see what's happening. Yeah, whoa, what the hell? That shouldn't have... Oh wait, it's still aiming, it just wouldn't have... Okay. Alright, destroy enemy vehicles. I got it. I'm gonna have to actually program the guns and such as well. Because, yeah, well, it'll actually still try and aim, it just won't fire until it's outside of that area. Okay, alright, yep. Forgot that was the thing. The point is, if it's set up, I thought it was supposed to do the same to all, like, everything it was connected to. Okay, well, let me copy... Wait, what? That's the elevation one. Here, one axis, copy, alright. So let's try this. Let's see how this works. I don't believe this should be how it normally functions, but if it does... Fair enough. I'll have to go around and do it to each of them under those circumstances, but I believe this should be right. Shouldn't be requiring that. Okay, so let's test and see if that gun at the back there fires. Okay, alright. So I do have to do it with each of the guns. Okay, alright. Shouldn't be too hard to do. We've got it on each of the clipboards here, so I'm going to just drop it on the clipboard. Up we go. And then we'll have to test and see if that works real quick, and then we should be right. It's really hard to reach these sometimes. Oh no, wait, that is it, yep. There we go, okay. Paste, paste. Alright, then we've got this side. And okay. It does take a little bit of mucking around sometimes, as these can be time consuming, but when it works out, it's worth it. Even if it's just for the sake of being able to load a bunch of these up and watch them spam something down. It should be worth a laugh, at least. One ship that does genuinely need some work on it, though, is sort of the artillery sort of dreadnought type ship thing that I built before that was some kind of horrible monstrosity with 40 cram cannons on the top. That thing don't mess about. Alright. That is the friendliest of fire. It's just this one, by the looks of it. However, these two aren't willing to shoot at it. They're willing to point at it. Confused. I don't know what's happening. Alright, you know what? That might be a lost cause for now. Yeah, it does not compute. Okay, it's fine. Alright, well, I was just mentioning another ship that definitely needs work. This thing's 613k at the moment. Costs need cutting down, yet simultaneously it needs work. Needs more putting into it. It's tough though. I was testing it last night in the combat efficiency tester thing arena, and it went ham. It lasted longer than my largest ship, which is much larger than it, and should have a hell of a lot more firepower and so forth. Oh, this thing hits like a truck. It does, however, yeah, need work on the turrets. I mean, I could transplant these ones over the top, but I believe these were... I can't remember if I set them up. No, I haven't actually set up constraints. So, I mean, they could just be copy-pasted across, really. There's no reason we couldn't. As you can see in the top left, though, I believe it should still have the FPS counter up there for you. FPS has dropped. Straight into degraded mode. It drops to 23 frames. You can see there. So it's a bit hefty. It might chop the game up a bit, but it is also kind of due to the interactions. As you see, it sped up a little bit when I got out of the water there, of all these propellers on the bottom. These were actually meant to be encased originally, but I've ended up just sort of putting them on the bottom there for now. So they're all running on a drone script, essentially. So this thing can actually drop the back end into the water and down, lift the nose up, and actually point its guns up towards the sky to some degree. Which is why it doesn't really need its turrets sort of changing over to a double turret setup. We've got a whole bunch of APS customizers. I don't know why I put them in here. It was when I first built it and I was just like, what the hell can I put in this room? So for now, they're just kind of sitting there, but I could have multiple different ammo setups that I could change the guns between, have multiple different types of guns on the ship. It is set up to eventually sort of become a battleship. But starting off, it just kind of had a bunch of cannons. Now in here I haven't set anything up yet apart from a teleport pad. It's just meant to be able to get inside the ship. But I took the one out that was outside, so not much can be done with that. It doesn't need resources. There's actually very little it needs at this stage, and that's because it's kind of built into the hull. Actually, if I go to no structural, yeah, it's really simple. It's just layered right into the armor underneath. And the idea is, because it's such a tall ship in air quotes, it drops itself so far down and into the water that it allows for this stuff to stay well below the waterline. so far below that really getting a hit in underneath it isn't going to happen unless you're up against a submarine. Now, that isn't something it's really meant to be dealing with, and I was going to set up a fighter set up with torpedoes just to sort of keep this in company in case that did occur. The fighter can go in and just drop torps and hopefully take it out. The turrets are all tiered, so you can see each of the turrets does raise up slightly. It goes up one level, each set of turrets. And the reason being is each of them should basically only need to lift themselves up ever so slightly to clear the turret ahead of them. I did think afterwards probably would have been better off with 2 blocks tiering, but at the same time it wouldn't have allowed for as many guns on it without it sort of ending up really tall in the back. And the idea was to keep it actually fairly low profile for what it does. But as you can see, it's a pretty decent number of shots at a time. They can clear each other fairly easily though. Not too much worry about shooting the gun ahead of it. They fill up fairly quickly. Decent gauge. It's almost 1600mm and it should be identical for each and every single gun. Yeah, got the repair drone dealios set up in there. We've got this was here for detection. Now this is something it needs work on. Actually kind of need to rip this off probably, to be honest, but no, I guess it could stay. We've got detection put onto each of these so far, so they've actually got their own coincidence rangefinder each. Lasers are set up here. Now they're actually built into the top of the interior hull here, and so each of those right there is a laser setup, and it's running with a wireless. Yeah, running with a wireless laser transceiver. It just sends it straight up to the top. Very simple setup, and yet I found it to actually be really effective. I've had a hard time setting up lasers before. I didn't really know what I was doing with them at all. Still don't really, I guess. But I've actually found these ones specifically to be very effective for some reason. So yeah, quite happy with that. But again, we need to work on these, so that's what we'll probably get onto first and foremost with this build. But again, yeah, I can't really think of anything else that it needs setting up in it. If anyone can think of anything, anyone can suggest anything to put into like this room here. The engine bay's back here. We got too many engines. way too many engines. So it's a bit of overkill. From what I remember, even if we put the water drive up to full, yeah, we barely touch on our engines, but at the same time we're just not moving because button.
Weapons only.
There we go. We're locked in place. But yeah, so as you can see, 4,000 out of 14,000 used. Not really necessary for it to have anywhere near as much power generation as it has, but I don't know, not sure whether to get rid of it for sure or not. Probably want to go backwards because that over there gives me the hint that it's probably going to run ashore in some really shallow water up ahead. Alright, so how about probably going to have to get onto these turrets first. It is really choppy when interacting with this ship, so I don't know, might have to lift it up and out of the water. Hopefully that'll help. Alright, so save sub-object. Jesus, I've got too many of these. There, we'll replace that with that. Alright, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to break each of these one by one. Now, again, I don't think they have any kind of programming, which is good. But it's still going to be a little bit... How's it going to line these up perfectly? Alright. So... Whoop. Probably should just do that. Well, And there it is. Alright. So how that one goes. Up and away. Load. Now, you have to make sure that it's the right way around first. Yep. So I have to double check it. So it'd be nothing worse than putting the turret down and then finding out it's backwards. If you could go away turret, that'd be great. Okay. Alright, so I believe it's a 1 block gap to the wall. Yep. 1 block gap to there, and then that should be lined up right there. Now up here, I'm just going to quickly check it and make sure that is good. Can it turn? Yes, it can turn. Alright, sweet. Seems to be working. Alright, very briefly not in degraded mode for a second there. Okay. God, blind. Okay. Work specifically on that one. Get in here. And place the next one. So I also kind of did want to set up. Oh god, can't see. There we go. Did want to set up something in terms of anti-air on this thing, to be honest. It's currently, yeah, it doesn't really have anything to defend itself against air units. I believe that should be right. But I just have not had a look at doing so yet. Okay, yep, that should be fine. On to this one. And this should basically end up encasing these, so we don't have to worry about them getting destroyed. Plus it's also much more aesthetically pleasing to see the encased turrets rather than the bare open ones. Especially the layer of armor on the top there should be a huge help, as it will be another an extra layer of defense against explosives from above. So, and should be right there. All right, and here. Okay. Oop, back here. Yeah, it's probably slightly excessive firepower at the moment, but when you sort of play with things like the perforator and such, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, fair enough. That is an adequate amount of firepower for that shit. I mean, even with this many cannons on it, this thing's just like gonna take a while to blow one of those things up. Oh, whoops. There we go. But yeah, it did take it down fairly well last time I tested it, but that new laser it's got made it hard. Kind of just rips holes into the sides of ships. It's horrifying. Okay, right there. Oh, alright, fell into the floor for a second there, but I think that's dead on. Actually, I may have misplaced that one. It seems like. Where is that turret? Oh no, I'm a moron. Okay, never mind. Oops, my bad. We're gonna have to break those again. I forgot the different heights are each one. I had to copy the one from that side over to this side each time. Oh dear. Okay, makes sense. Yep. Alright. Okay, my bad. My bad. Crap. Alright. So we will grab this one and destroy it. Oh man, that's a pain. I forgot about that. That was one of the reasons I didn't get around to it yet. Alright. So we need to, yeah, specifically interact with that one, save it straight over the top, and then paste it here. Alright. Still shouldn't take too long to do. Why wasn't I testing them the whole way along? Should have been thorough. That'll learn me. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Good stuff. Okay. Problem solved. Now on to the third one. Yep. Cool. Alright, so it's 3 more to do. Shouldn't take too long. That one. Break that. Okay. Just gonna fly out the side of the ship, don't mind me. That one. Save there. Alright. Oh. Should be right there. Okay, test it again. Yep. Looks to be working. Good stuff. Yeah. The turrets are also, like, everything on the outside there is kind of just dark black because it's just very difficult to figure out what's gun and what's not gun. So it's hard for me, it's hard for them. Should, I mean, it's not going to help unless we're actually throwing it against other people, but I mean, hey, still makes it hard to tell what's a gun and what isn't. It's fine. Alright. There we are. Oh. Trying to get in the wall too much. Okay. Test that one out. So it's a little tedious working on lots of cannons, but we're getting there. One more. Alright. Good stuff. Oop. If I could be inside the ship but not inside the ship, that would be great. There we go. Okay, so it should be that one. Well, actually, I'm going to get rid of this one first. And then that one. Break that. Save. There we are. Alright. Oop. That should be right there. I hope. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Cannon's done. Alright. A lot of work for what actually wasn't really much done, but anyway, it's fine. Alright, now I can't remember off the top of my head how much clearance each of these needed, but I'm kind of tempted to box them off, corridor them off, I guess, with just steel walls the entire way along and each way across, sort of a dealio. So that each of them's in their own sort of little chamber area type situation. Just try and prevent them from detonating one to the other and chain reactioning along the ship. I think that might be worth checking out. Could be worth doing. I can't remember if these... I think these are all still the same gauge. So there's a 1500, there's a 1500. Double check, 1519. Yep. Yeah. 1519. 1519. Okay, I'm not 100% sure why just the front ones are a tiny bit weaker. I don't know what happened there. I was pretty sure they were all identical, but meh. It should still work. Alright, so definitely going to save that up. let's give it a good test. Now we're going to need something fairly tough, so why don't we do something... Be careful, because we're basically sitting over land right now. I mean, that could be terrible. I don't know where to spawn the enemy, so what I might do is quickly restart the designer. Okay, destroy all vehicles and load. This one. So yeah, this thing should be pretty effective now. That should have toughened it up a bit. I believe it was, no, the white flares, I think. Go over here and perforator. Let's see how it does. Is it in combat mode? Yes, it is. Good. Okay. Oh, yep, they are right next to us. Okay. This should be interesting. We'll see if our turrets are really able to do their thing. This thing's meant to fight from a distance. It's meant to stay way away from the enemy. You can see that's that big laser thing I was talking about. And if it hits... yeah. That is what it does. It goes straight through your walls, straight through your armor, straight through everything, and detonates your fuel. Detonates your ammo, detonates all that stuff. And thankfully, because the guns are actually tiered off into a separate level, they shouldn't immediately cop it as bad, but god damn, it doesn't mess around with that. So that's the gun I was talking about. Until we've got smoke and so forth, we're able to deal with it. Yeah. But we can give it a good fight. I mean, that at the very least we can do. Yeah. See, I mean, we could cripple the laser, but by that stage, it's already popped the fuel. It's already popped the ammo, all that sort of stuff. Still going. Alright. So yeah. It's definitely still gonna need work. So I mean, I guess I could start setting up more detection in it with some of that extra space that I've got. So delete it all. It's not going to be able to fight it at the moment. But after a quick bit of messing with it, we might be able to get it into a state where it can. What we need is smoke, and we need fuel. Thankfully this is fuel-based, but unfortunately this is fuel-based. Our fuel storage is kinda important, but that's fine. Alright, so what we're gonna need... I don't know how I'm gonna do the fuel. Sorry, how I'm gonna protect the fuel with the smoke, necessarily. Basically, the bottom decks are all going to need smoke. And the top decks are probably also going to need it. So what we're going to start doing is popping down connectors. Probably even do it like this on either side of each room. Alright, so mirror that. There we go, and then sort of start popping them in these areas. And what will happen is they'll go off inside the ship. We'll have detectors on the outside to try and set them up as soon as the fight starts, and they'll just run until it's done. Until it's essentially out of fuel. What am I doing? So I can separate this room off into two separate sections as well. That's one other thing it needs doing. I mean, it's nice having all the extra space, but each time I section off another room, it means that I can have each of them separately. Actually, I haven't set up an air filter in this room yet. Yeah, it means I can separate those off so that if one room does get sort of, I guess, punctured or whatever, it doesn't actually let water out of every single floor. in every room of the ship. We don't end up flooded and we don't have a bad time. So sealing them off individually should be worth. Leave the door way down towards that end. Yeah, this room is longer than I thought it was. That's off center. Whoops. That's center. Or is it? Yeah, I think I set my... Whoops. I set the mirroring off center. Really? Huh. That doesn't seem right. Wait a minute. Nope, that should be center according to there. Like according to the stairs and everything else. But according to that, it seems like the ship runs straight down to that one single block there. So let me double check. Have I like... There's no way I've stuffed up, yeah? Oh god, well, I haven't necessarily stuffed up, but I mean the rooms are not dead even. That's not where the center is. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oops. Put it back over here for the mirroring because we're already working on that line, so we may as well stick with it. Okay. So sorry if the game chops up occasionally. I don't know why it does it. So I don't know what that was. Sounded like some kind of weapon. Ooh. Finally buggering off. Oh, okay, alright, that's fine. Okay, so build them up, section these two rooms, and then we can put yeah, water pump into each room, and that way we should have a much lower chance of actually sinking the ship. And at the same time, we've sort of got to worry about, I guess, setting up more fuel elsewhere. If we can, to keep some of the fuel separated, so if the laser does hit it, we don't lose all of our smoke immediately. So most things that tactic with slipping all the resources into the bottom underside area here usually works against, but them lasers kind of just slip into your ship and do what they want. Alright. So I'm going to put a wireless receiver onto each of these. Should still be mirroring. And that's not sealed. There we go. Okay, so now what we need is laser warner, smoke dispenser. Alright. I don't think we need more than one smoke in each, like on each block. I believe it should just be the one. So probably leave it at that. But what I will do is put a laser warner on it, I think. Just in case the outside ones that we're going to put on do end up getting destroyed, we'll have some interior ones to sort of back it up. Alright. Now we need a seed to there. And then we need a smoke dispenser. Bob's your uncle. Off we go. And yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, laser warner. Good stuff. Alright, so that should be enough to protect down there. Now, may end up still needing more. Like, I'm not 100% as to how much smoke we're going to end up needing, but I mean, I'm just going to have to muck around with it and find out, I guess. Kind of thinking of putting some smoke down here as well. Let's see how we do with that. And laser warner. And then, alright, we have to do the same on the upper decks. Just putting in laser warners. Now, the difficult part is going to be seeing where we can. So we've got plenty of munition warners, and I mean munition warners upon munition warners. What the hell? Hang on, let me really quickly go to painting mode and figure out what the hell is going on here. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. What the hell? So it's like some ridiculous levels of... I do remember setting this up, just trying to set up detection for literally, like, of every kind to see what would be most effective, and, yeah, that's a bit excessive, so... it's fine. Alright. Like, that one, view is obstructed, so it's not going to even function. That one's fine. That one needs to go. I mean, we could put them on here, but it still wouldn't function. So it's not going to help us much. But what we can do... Alright. Again, that's like... what the hell? Alright. So put AI connector there and there. And I'll put laser warners on there. I mean, could do that, but it's not gonna help. Wait. What the? More stuff being off-centered. Okay. That was not what was meant to happen. You and you. And that can go back there. There we go, that'll work fine. Alright. So hopefully that'll deal with that. Now we need... Whoop, try and chuck some laser warners down there. Alright. That'll detect anything at the front. I don't know if we're going to need more like detection for lasers than that, so I think it's maybe going to take a test run to find out, I guess. See what's happening. So what we'll do is save it up. Now, the amount of fuel we've got is pretty decent, but I don't know. I guess I'll go to this, stop when fuel is below 10, ammo can go right down. We've still got plenty of space so we could set up a whole bunch of ammo generation, and that didn't mirror. Rip. God damn it. Okay, so put that there. Put that there. Oop. And laser one. Alright. So quickly have to calibrate each of the smoke detectors to run our supplies down to pretty much nothing. Ammo we can generate more of, but fuel not on the go at the moment. That is something we could probably try and have a look at setting up into the ship. Ventilation though is, like if we were to stick it somewhere down here, ventilation is going to be a bitch. Other than that though, it should be fine. I mean, even at the very front here, we've got the giant ramp running downstairs, but underneath that, we've got 2 empty rooms at the moment, which I still have not put the air pumps into. So there we are, air pump there, and an air pump there. Okay, good stuff. So that'll lift the nose up a bit more. Air pump, pump. I mean, this is going to lift her up a bunch, which we don't really need at the moment, but it's fine. May as well pump the water out. Okay, so this is already done with the water pump. This was already done with the water pump, I believe, as well. Or it looks it. Yeah. Okay, so in that case, we should be right. Calibrate the rest of these. And then we could probably test it out. See if its ammo generation will keep up. Fuel is sort of something we can fiddle with after. Maybe set up some proper fuel production on the ship and start churning out fuel from material, but I mean, as it stands, we're going to be turning out material into ammo as well, so there's only so much we can do in that sense without having to start actually setting up more cargo storage for random materials just to keep it running. Alright, so just these two left, I believe. Did I do the engine room? I don't think I did the engine room with smoke, so I might want to have a quick ease at that. Nice splash. The hell? Oh, I guess that'd be the propeller trying to deal with stuff. See, I think she becomes less balanced when you put all that, yeah, all those air pumps in there, but I mean, it's fine. It'll keep her up and running longer in a fight, so I guess it's worth. Frames have dropped. Like, well and truly dropped. Alright, so, yeah, we've got an air pump there. What we don't have is connector. So from there, on a mirror, right there, that'll work, hopefully. Laser water. Oh, I'm putting it that way, I should have been putting it. Actually, just because it's at the back of the ship, I also want a laser water at the back, I think. And then just put a smoke dispenser on the inside of each. Now we'll be getting attacked from the other side, so likely. So, okay, alright. That should be good. Okay, so that there. And that there. Alright, so that should protect. Hopefully. I mean, dear God, have we got space for more propellers on the back here if we really wanted them. Jesus. Alright. Save it up and maybe test that out, see how that does. I need to repaint the front there, but it's fine. Perforator. Let's slag it up some more rather than bringing a different ship in. Alright, where is it? Should be just there. Yeah. Good stuff. Alright, that triggered a smoke. Triggered explosions, I believe. Yeah, it seems it's still lasering us. Let's see. Okay, so it's not firing. I don't remember if they fire automatically. Oh no. I think you might actually have to set them up. Is it? Hang on. Yeah, I believe you do. I think you need an automated control block. I might just slap one down real quick just to test. I'm not seeing any. kind of lasering the front rather than immediately hitting the underside and detonating everything. But we have lost a bunch, I believe. Oh god. It's stripped. A little bit off the bottom there. I don't know how that... I think we've gotten the upper hand this time around. Because it looks like that thing's copped a pound. Yes. Yes, it absolutely has. Just a bit. I mean, we turned off the laser. That's a definite. Oh. Alright. I'm dead. Let's let the battleships do their thing. You guys can duke it out. Jesus. Not bad though. It's I guess kind of just a lucky fight. We managed to shut down its lasers pretty quickly there. Even though our smoke had no effect. We still managed to survive. It does happen to be set up so, as you can see, yeah, even if it's going to deflect the shot, it'll still detonate. So shields, like reflective shields, aren't really effective. Not that they should be against sort of slower shots, but yeah. Regardless, they're pretty much useless against that. They're also timed fuses, so should be able to utilize that as well to make sure it's not really missing so much as, you know, shells will fall under it and then detonate under the ship, so doing a whole bunch of damage. There's some heavy armor there though. Yeah. Pretty decent ship. Oh, there goes, yep, the rest of the fuel and stuff underneath the ship. So, I mean, we can move even the fuel and the ammo inside the ship and just convert the rest of that into different materials, but at the same time I'm kind of feeling like what would be more effective would possibly be to chuck either an entirely extra layer of armor underneath the ship of heavy armor, like proper steel armor, or exchange it. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of... I feel like the super heavy armor stuff might be pretty useful under those circumstances. As the way that that stuff works, I still remember when it first came out and I was pretty psyched about it. If I was to put like a layer of sort of heavy steel armor on this, so you got your standard metal blocks, you got your lightweight alloy, and then you got your heavy. Now it's got 40 armor and 1000 health. Metal block has 350 health, 15 armor. Only weighs 40, heavy armor weighs 200, so tremendous difference. Wood blocks, 180 health, 3 armor, 10 weight. What you can do is if you were to chuck the heavy armor down, every block of armor behind it multiplies its armor factor. So essentially what had happened, I can't remember the exact rate at which it was multiplied. I believe it was double for a single layer behind it, a third layer behind it will take it up to quadruple armor, and then the next layer of armor behind that took it up to like 8 times armor, and it couldn't go any higher. So the idea behind that is if you put a single layer of wood armor underneath your heavy armor, it'll take it from 40 armor to 80. Now it'll have 1000 health, and if the wooden blocks behind it were to get burst, the armor rating would drop on it. But until that did, it would have like just a ridiculous armor rating on that outside edge. So that's sort of why when I'm setting this stuff up, I'll put the Jesus, getting pummeled. So yeah, put the heavy armor on the outside here with the metal beams, and then under that I'll usually end up putting Likely sometimes I'll put a secondary layer of metal underneath that, and then the rest will usually end up being lightweight or alloy for the next couple of layers. That's not what I did with this one. This one ended up being just straight up metal the whole way through. There is no lightweight alloys in this yet. So I'm still in a position where I can totally put a bunch of lightweight alloy or even put a bunch of wood into this and actually just boost the living crap out of the armor rating of the outside armor, allowing it to take a bit more of a punishment, a bit more of a beating, I mean. Yeah, it looks like that. That's not a fight we're winning one-on-one yet. Smoke detectors didn't appear to do their thing, so I might need to put more smoke detection on the outside of it elsewhere. But for now, I think that might be it for working on this one just right now. So we have done quite a bit of work with it. Swapped all the turrets around. Got a good idea of what we want to do next. I think, yeah, because I think honestly what I want to do, not at the nose here, because that seems like a dangerous idea, but back here we've got an entire room that's completely, like, not used, but here as well. So we already had a heap of fuel under here anyway. Thinking of changing it all into miscellaneous storage and piling up a bunch of fuel into this room here. Now if I was to do that, I'm also thinking I would set them onto spinners. So what would happen is, just a quick example, spinner turn block, on top of that, resources, wait, did they change that? Destroy enemy vehicles. You can no longer, ooh, you can no longer do this? Okay, you used to be able to do this. It looks like they may have changed it. Just double check it. Hang on, definitely resources, fuel. Yep, you can still do it with ammunition storage, but you cannot do it with fuel storage. Now I know I had a fuel storage thing set up this way before, so I guess that's been changed. But I can still totally give an example with this anyway. What would have happened was 4 block tall beam there, then beams on each side. Essentially, that would work like that. Then you go to blocks, metal. No, sorry, my bad. There we are, and then there we are. So yeah, this is, it should become fairly quickly evident what I'm doing here. And these can kind of just get slapped down around the ship wherever. Oop. Please settle down, spinner. Yeah. There we go. Alright. Then all that happens is you sort of extend those down to the floor, of course. Control, automatic control block. Slap it down. Spin blocks within however close. This is supposed to be a quick example. Set rotation speed to set it to 10. That'll pretty much work. I believe I had it set slightly higher with the other ones before. It's like 15. And the idea is, if you start shooting at this, if you start damaging the blocks, so if it was just stationary, and it was just a set of blocks, I can sort of slowly work my way through a side. So currently what we've got is we've got like an outer layer of steel armor, and then under that is where we've got our blocks, and we've kind of got protection going across and so forth. What this does as it prevents us from sort of working our way through that armor, slowly dacking our way in or anything, and exposing the ammo whilst it's inside. Because what will happen is if you're shooting through this wall, you can only shoot one side of it. So normally you sort of work your way through that bit there, end up eventually hitting the ammo blocks inside, detonate them, loves your uncle, it's all gone. Usually I believe you'd have the metal, like a metal beam, highest quality you can, so like heavy armor in the center there, so that way it doesn't end up getting destroyed, and then you just surround that with ammo, fuel, whatever you need. And with it spinning at this speed, even if you're spraying shots at like a really high speed, you can't keep hitting the same block over and over again. You're going to keep hitting different sides of it as it spins around at rapid speeds, and you're going to slowly work your way through the entire outer edge. It takes a lot longer to get in and hit the ammo storage, so I actually had a ship before that the entire central section of it was a spinner, and so it was just this massive ship with just a spinner in the bottom, and majority of the ship spun inside the ship, and it was just impossible to actually break in and target like one specific type of thing that it had, so its fuel or its ammo or whatever else, because all it was just spinning around along with all the armor and so forth. It was just a case of like, yeah, picking a specific weak spot in it was almost impossible. So I think I might try something along those lines, just setting ammo boxes up on spinners, maybe in this room. We could probably set 4 of them up and have them just spinning and going ham, take the fuel out of the bottom, and it should be a much safer ship. So I think that's a plan maybe for next time. So we have been recording for a little while now. I think I might probably end up ending the stream here for now, for today, and tomorrow though I'll probably be doing a bunch more streaming, probably try and actually get a bit more done, but at the same time it shouldn't take long before the vehicles at this rate are ready to go in actual, like in the actual campaign again. So not long before we're at Nita, which is good stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully catch you guys next time in the next stream. Don't forget as well, if you can, chuck a like down on it if you enjoyed it. It does help. Give me some feedback and let me know what you do and don't like, and yeah, helps me sort of get a better idea of what I should be working on, sort of improve the channel and such. So really appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys next time. Have a good one, guys.